Those who are here, please be there. Wait for the others to join in. Then I can start.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Just wait for others to join in. So 20 of you are there. Just wait for 4 or 5 of more of you, so I can start. Electrical students are there.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, then electronics. Electronics.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Okay, then MCI I can see, IT I can see, stats.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so
Yes,
I
sir.
hope few of you are there from all the departments. So I'll be sharing my screen, and initially I'll just recapitulate. You can see my screen, I guess.
Yes. Yes, sir.
So is it visible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what we had done in the last class, I'll just briefly go through that, and in between, if a few more of you join in, then I can start off. So in the last class, we had discussed regarding intelligence and human intelligence, and we had gone to this thing, artificial intelligence. Today, I'll be mainly discussing the basic thing, the Turing test, and Alan Turing I had mentioned, I guess. Then we had gone through these 3 different types of AI, if you remember: artificial narrow intelligence, artificial general intelligence, and artificial super intelligence. So I hope up to these, I think it's clear, the present day AI. Then we had discussed regarding the super intelligence, and this model means where we are now and so on. Up to this is clear, I guess.
Yes, sir.
Okay, going ahead. So already say 20 plus of you are there out of 43. So I think I can go ahead. In between, if somebody joins in, I can pull him or her in. So based on the definitions of AI, if you are organizing based on the behavior, one thing is acting humanly, another is acting rationally. So the definitions you can see here in 91, 98, 98. So these definitions were given by different people who were working on these areas. Means in one case, based on the behavior, we are saying that they have to act humanly and act rationally. Normally what happens is that the rational thing is not a very big problematic way. Say if I ask you, okay, जिसका भी 40 आया है उसको पास कर दो, जिसका 40 नहीं आया है उसको फेल कर दो. So if I tell you to work on that way, what will happen? So automatically anybody who is 39 also will be out, and anybody who is say 40 also, he will be getting in. But actual difference between the candidate in 39 and the candidate in 40 is only 1 marks, isn't it? So that thing happens in our day-to-day life. So like this time, say on Monday, we are having the AICTE doctoral fellowship say interview, but what we are doing is that we are not getting relevant candidates because their criteria is such that for our 3 departments, the AICTE affiliated 3 departments, that is IT, MCA, and not MCA, IT, computer science, and electrical. So we have got 8 seats. In other institutes, there is a fight for this AICTE doctoral fellowship because any candidate being admitted in this fellowship will be getting the JRF scale and other things. They have put that the candidate has to have a GATE or NET in the last 5 years. Then they have to have 70% marks in their UG and PG. Then they have put the criteria that their age should be less than 30. No doubt there are considerations for SC, ST and women candidates in terms of age, or SC, ST in terms of 5%. But they have categorically mentioned that 65% means 64.5 and 70% means 69.5 maximum. So they want a rational kind of thing. Means we should not take 64 or 64 point, say something like 3 should not be considered as 64.5 and somebody may be admitted or something. So they want us to be rational, because rational means we'll go based on the statistics. So when we advertise in that way, obviously only good candidates will be coming, and if somebody who is good throughout, he or she comes, if they are really good, obviously they'll prefer IITs. If they don't get into IITs, they'll go for NITs, and then only they'll be preferring Central University. So that is a normal logical approach for any of the candidates, isn't it? Now it may be that somebody is not having, say somebody is having some family pressure that they cannot leave the home, mainly for girls. I think they have faced that a lot. They might have got good results because of our Indian mentality. They are not allowed to go outside their hometown. Many of them, not all, but some of them may be having this kind of thing. Or some boys may be having to take care of their family because no one else is there to take care of the people there. So those are, again, in those part, what we are telling here, we are acting humanly there, isn't it? I hope you might have faced, all of you might have faced this kind of situations. Now, if you ask a machine to do that, it can act rationally only. Acting humanly part is actually a problem. Rather, if we want to have it act as humanly, you have to bring in various parameters into the mind. Clear? All of you getting what I want to explain here?
Yes, sir.
So acting rationally is like you can make a statistics guys can make a equation. Anybody is having average marks this much or average value this much. You can do it in that way. Or somebody from electrical, electronics, computer, IT, MCA guys, they can write a simple code. Anything less than this is this. Anything greater than this is this. We can directly put a if then else loop, isn't it? So that is very easy to put anything acting rationally. but acting humanly is the troublesome part. So if we define AI based on the behavior, you see the first definition, it says that the art of creating machines that perform functions that require intelligence when performed by people. Means they should perform as people, that is acting humanly. Clear? They should not be acting as machines there. If a machine acts as a machine, then it is a machine. It is not having an artificial intelligence. Clear? Second definition, you see, under this acting humanly only, the study of how to make computers do things at which at the moment people are better. So it may be, say, somebody is from fine arts and or maybe not from fine arts. Any of you can be a good artist in terms of dancing, singing, drawing, and other things. Now, if you have a system which can perform better than the people. Now, if there is only a Beethoven loaded in the machine and it is playing Beethoven, that's a very simple thing. But if it is able to understand, say, Indian classical music and correlate Beethoven with respect to that and play it, then it is acting humanly. Clear? So go to the next part, that is acting rationally part. So you see the two definitions. One is computational intelligence is the study of design of intelligent agents. So here when I say rationally, we say intelligent agents. Intelligent agents means many of the times when we act humanly, somebody may fool us. That happens. Say for example, you see, you go to a mall for the first time, you see a very poor woman with a child there, you give her some money because you acted humanly, feeling sad for her. Now, if you regularly go to the mall and you see that lady is with the child and every day she is sitting there and she is narrating the same story of her sadness, then you act rationally that, okay, this lady is actually, that's actually her business. Getting? So there are various things that are running there and they are acting. So there you have acted rationally. Now, if you have a machine which initially may act humanly and then again act rationally. Now, somebody may be giving her the money every time they visit the mall. Somebody may be giving first time, second time, and the next 2 or 3 times he or she may not be giving the money. So those kind of things that are there, those are rational kind of things where sometimes we may go this way, we may go that way, and that is based on our intelligence and our heart. So that's why we say we humans have mind and heart. One part is the heart and one part is the mind. So mind thinks rationally and heart thinks humanly. Okay? Clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So though heart doesn't think, that is a hypothetical one, but we normally say that whenever we are acting humanly, we are acting with our hearts. That's what we say. And rationally means we are doing some calculations like the statistics guys, they do some statistical analysis and then they decide. Similarly, AI is, the last definition is AI is concerned about intelligent behavior in artifacts. So you have various sets of artifacts there. It may be any kind of thing. This Nielsen's definition is with respect to artifacts. So whether it is artifacts or any other machine, if it can intelligently take some decision, it can do the needful. So two parts we have to think. One is humanly and rationally. The same humanly and rationally works for the other part. So this acting humanly is normally the human kind of performance, whereas the doing the right thing is the ideal kind of performance. So ideal performance and human performance are not the same. Okay. So sometimes we appreciate the human performance, but the ideal performance is the one which improves your data in terms of statistics, isn't it? So what happens is that sometimes you are statistically correct and sometimes you are, as statistics students are there, so I am mentioning that. Sometimes what happens, you see you are statistically correct, means somebody who may not like say engineering or any other subject may actually excel in that based on say his or her sheer hard work or dedication, or maybe because of intelligence. But maybe the interest may not be related. So many of you may be there who are doing this PG program, but may not be interested. You are doing that thing to get a job, or say go for higher studies and any other thing. And normally in UG it happens. Many of the students, what they do after BTech, they do a MBA and become a manager. So that kind of thing happens because priorities are different, the importance is different, the situation is different. Somebody is ready to move outside, somebody is not ready to move outside. Somebody is ready to do a government job, somebody is not ready to go do a government job. Somebody is ready to do some civil service, somebody is not ready to do. Somebody is ready to do any kind of job, but somebody is not ready to do that. So these are the different things where we have the human behavior and the rational performance separately working out. So another thing is the thought process. The thought process and reasoning part is there. Is for the same thing, we can be the thinking part also can be done humanly as well as rationally. So for thinking part also, we are having this set of definitions. You can see the exciting new effort to make computers think, that is machines with minds, is a full and literal sense. Means machines with mind means they have to think. That is the sentient part which I discussed in the last class. And for automation part, the activities that we associate with human thinking, activities such as decision making, problem solving and learning. Now decision making and problem solving and learning, these three are the human part, because normally decision making, if you do in terms of the data and statistics, any algorithm, any program can do it. But if you have some decision making to do, taking overall different kind of pictures, or solving some problem, or learning something, then you have to act humanly. Otherwise you cannot do 2 + 2 4 and do that kind of thing like any algorithm does. Moreover, the study of for rational part, the study of mental faculties through the use of your computational models. So for computational models, if you use, then you decide on particular things. This nowadays they are putting computational intelligence in many of the things. You'll see that if you Google, you'll be seeing that lot of computational intelligence in this field, that field they are using. What they are doing is that whatever is the computation, because there is two things. One thing is the classical physics part. The classical physics is governed by the laws, and based on that the systems work. Now what has happened is that with the advances of quantum computing, very few people work on the quantum computing area. In our department, Jayanta sir works on that. He has submitted his thesis in NIT Agartala, and he has quite a lot of publications in this quantum computing. But this quantum computing is working in physics, chemistry, mathematics and other things. In many areas quantum computing is being employed, and maybe in future you may be having the quantum based computers there. Now presently it is not much available. So what has happened is that as the quantum computing has evolved, we are not having only 0 and 1 kind of situation. Deepankar and Rajiv of our MTech I think are working under sir. Deepankar or Rajiv, any of you are there online?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so they are working on quantum computers. So quantum computers are mainly based on instead of 0 and 1, you have few more states. So the machines, instead of having only 0 and 1 binary state, which you have all of you have done the skill classes, and in your 12th and in your UG also you have studied the numerical systems, binary number systems. So instead of the binary number systems, nowadays the main research area is to have multiple things. Means other than the binary number system, the quantum number systems are coming up. But now anybody is improving, the other department also wants to improve. So the physics people say, who are working on the classical physics, why should this only the quantum be, then this quantum guys will make us absolute, isn't it? So if something new comes in the market, the old ones will become absolute. That's an issue. Like what has happened to BSNL. So BSNL didn't have the 4G. So now BSNL is buying for 5G directly, isn't it? Otherwise, it will not be in the market with respect to Jio, Vodafone and others. All have employed 4G. But BSNL being a government company was not allotted 4G. So now directly they are asking the government to give them 5G so that they are at par with the other companies. Electronics guys, I think you are aware of that. Electronics? Okay. So the main thing here, what I want to insist is that these computational models that are coming up based on computational intelligence are nothing but classical physics employing their classical physics formulas in the quantum approach and making the machines think rationally based on the computational models, whereas applying the quantum idea. So these computational models that are there, they try to bring in two ideas together. One idea, in case of quantum computing, they want to go to the quantum computing field and bring in the classical physics idea. And in case of our AI, they are trying to bring in the human thinking humanly and thinking rationally together into the machine, which normally is dealing with the binary 0 and 1. Getting? That's why I have correlated it with the quantum computing, because quantum computing, at least electronics guys and maybe electrical may have the idea. So the thing is that instead of two binary 0 and 1 state, you have something. The electrical guys might have done a fuzzy course. Electrical guys, have you done a fuzzy course? Or statistics students, you have taken up any mathematics course of Tripathi sir or Sharmishta ma'am? Or maybe Anjan sir if he was there. Anybody who has done a fuzzy course?
No, sir.
Okay, you guys have not done. Now I have, that's why I asked our IT students to do a fuzzy course, because that is a very important one and will be, so you statistics guys, at least you should go for fuzzy, because you have an option of being near to the mathematics department. So mathematics department is always floating some fuzzy set theory and many other things. So if you can employ statistics along with fuzzy, it will be beneficial for you guys. Anyway, so going ahead, the main idea of this computational models that I'm saying here is that just like quantum computing is having more than two states, similarly here they are employing this quantum computing idea and classical physics idea, two ideas together at one go. Here in AI, we are bringing in the thinking humanly and thinking rationally together in one go to make a better machine. So the last definition is the study of this computations that make it possible to perceive, reason and act. You see, the left hand side is problem solving, learning and decision making, whereas the right hand side is perception, reasoning and acting. Okay, you are getting the difference? So based on these two set of thought processes and reasoning as well as the behavior, you have two sets of human performance, thinking humanly and for the human performance, and right the other one is the ideal performance. One is the ideal performance, means ideally what you should do, and humanly if you think what you should do. Okay, so the two things. So these two things have to be brought into the machines, because ideal thing maybe with some algorithms you can bring in, but the other one, human one, is a bit the tougher one. So you have to bring in that. Unless you are bringing in that, it is not having a artificial intelligence. Clear up to this? So today I'll ask you to Google one thing, maybe after the class or anytime you are free, that is the Turing test approach. Okay, so based on Alan Turing, every year a contest is held, that is the Turing test. So what this Turing test is there is that what you do nowadays, all of you are having say different accounts, and you have chatbots with you in the different accounts, ICICI and say HDFC, many of them are giving chatbots. Anybody has used the chatbots?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So the chatbots that are there, they are on this idea that every time they held this kind of test, means you will be seated in one room and be connected with some chatbot. Now, if that you are communicating with the chatbot, you will be asking random questions. Okay, you are the evaluator. So if you are able to ask that kind of questions, which can be answered time to time instantaneously by a human being only, and you get that kind of response, and you feel that the person who is talking to you is not a chatbot but a human being, then it has passed the Turing test. Getting? The machine should behave like a human being. So you are chatting with somebody. Now that somebody you don't know. That somebody X may be a machine or maybe a person. Now if after chatting for long and posing the best possible questions, you get the answers and discussions that you do with that particular person online, and you feel like that person is having a connection with you, and that is not a chatbot responding in terms of zeros and ones, then only it is a system that has passed the Turing test. I hope you are getting what I want to explain. So passing the Turing test is you have to make an algorithm. So every year, continuously year round, this is open, and there is a very big sum of money. Okay, IT guys, computer application guys, if you are working on this area, even EC and EE and statistics students, if you are good in coding, if you are able to code a system which can chat continuously with any XYZ person and make him or her feel that the person chatting with him or her is a human being and not a machine, that algorithm is said to have passed the Alan Turing test. Okay?
Okay, sir.
So this you can Google it and you can see. So this Turing test, it was proposed by Alan Turing long back, but now it has advanced and more algorithms are coming in this particular thing. It has to provide a satisfactory operational definition of intelligence. Means he had said that if somebody can say replicate a human being, then that we can say the machine can think and other things. Now what is doing these guys, based on the royalties of Alan Turing and other things, they give prize monies to the algorithms that pass this particular test. There are some ratings and other things. They pose a random number of questions. They already have algorithms for posing questions, as well as they have trained human beings. Say how many human beings feel that the other person is a human. Okay, so a computer passes the test if the human interrogator means the person who is testing it, after posing some written questions, cannot tell whether the written responses come from a person or a computer. Okay, so he deserves the credit for designing the test. So he has designed only the test part. Okay, and even now it is relevant. So that's why I'm saying that it is more than half a century and still it is relevant. So he was that type of a genius, and that's why he is called the father of AI. Okay up to this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So, but AI researchers are devoted to this effort for passing this, and if they are able to do that, at least they have an algorithm which is say thinking humanly as well as responding humanly, and that kind of algorithms can be duplicated for other applications also. That is the basic idea. So the following capabilities have to be there. These are the 6 AI disciplines. The first is natural language processing. It should be able to communicate successfully in English, but NLP can be put in any other language. One of my scholars who is working in CDAC as a joint director, so he has done for this Northeastern languages. He has worked on that. He has worked on this in Nagaland and Arunachal mainly. In Nagaland and Arunachal, the main problem is what? You have lot of tribes there. So if there are a lot of tribes, what is happening there? Nagaland is having around 60, 70 odd tribes. Arunachal is having much more than that. Small villages with say a few thousand people are speaking one language, and in the next village it is some other language. So if anybody goes to Arunachal first time, they are normally from North India or any other place, they get astonished. Why these Arunachali guys, they are staying so far away from this, and they are still speaking in Hindi because they have to have a lingua franca to communicate among themselves. So if they do not know each other's language, how will they communicate? So they have used Hindi to communicate among themselves. So that's why they are good in Hindi. Whereas in Nagaland, there is a language called Nagamis. Nagamis, mind you, is not a language of Nagaland particular tribe. All the tribes use Nagamis as the interrelation language. But separately, Ao, Sumi and other languages are there. So 70 languages are there in Nagaland. And among those languages, people speaking in those languages, they speak in Nagamis. And this Nagamis is nothing but anybody from Assam?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so the Nagamis and Assamese are similar. The main thing is that the Northeast was initially under the Northeast Frontier Alliance. All the Northeastern 8 states were not 8. Sikkim was outside. The 7 states were under. They were called the Seven Sisters because they were under the Northeast Frontier, and separately one by one those states were separated. But what has happened is that the Assam was the controlling state. So the Assamese, as it propagated towards Arunachal, it became a raw kind of Assamese, and in Nagaland they built in something in between, and it became another raw kind of Assamese. So that is called Nagamis. So there is a lot of common things between Assamese and Nagamis, but that is if somebody speaks Assamese, they will say in a very polite way and other things, and normally when they say, as it was distorted by their local trunks and other things, so it is no longer Assamese, it is a rough kind of Assamese, so it is also called Nagamis because of that. Or sometimes it is called Nephamis. Nephamis means Northeast Frontier, Nepha, Frontier Alliance, Nepha and Mis. So from Assamese it has become Nephamis in Arunachal, and Nagamis in Nagamis also is a Nephamis. So they were using this, but for communicating, whether it is this language or that language, you have to have AI with it. Say you go to Mizoram and you are not able to communicate in Mizo with the local people, then it is very troublesome to buy anything. Nowadays it has say advanced more, but there are some things. So natural language processing, if it is possible and your algorithm is able to take some say inputs and then able to understand the language and speak in that language, then it is very helpful. So that is automatically, say if you have a very good natural language processing algorithm, then it is passing the Turing test, because the system will take a language and convert it to some other language, isn't it? So that is one. Then knowledge representation is to store and know, means you whatever you hear, means when you store, means you say somebody is saying something, and you are able to say convert it and store it in terms of bits and bytes, and some bits and bytes you can again convert it to language. Means every time if anybody says XYZ lines, you start storing anything, that will not help you out. You have to store the information content in that. Now if I say how are you, I can say how are you in different languages. So your system has to be able to identify this, what is the question I am posing. I am asking how are you. Now all of you, maybe somebody is Assamese, somebody is say speaking in Bengali, somebody is speaking in Hindi, somebody is speaking in any other XYZ language. How are you can be asked in all the languages, but the basic posing question, the knowledge representation should be same for all the questions, isn't it? If I ask how are you in whatever XYZ language, the representation of that knowledge should be same. Clear? So that means irrespective of the language, so the knowledge representation is one issue. Now if I start representing for 10 languages, so I should not be having 10 knowledge representations of how are you. It should be one knowledge representation related to 10 different languages. So that is the basic idea. How are you asking? Say one girl who is from Assam, so she knows Assamese, she knows Hindi, and she knows say English and maybe because of staying in Tripura, she knows Bengali also. She knows 4 languages. Now, if she knows 4 languages and one XYZ person comes, she will ask, how are you? She can ask in 4 different languages, but the basic question in her mind is same. Or who are you? If she doesn't know the person, she'll ask, who are you? So who are you can be asked in 4 different languages, but the representation and actual meaning will remain the same. It will not change. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now going to the automated reasoning. The automated reasoning part is to use stored information to answer questions and to draw new conclusion. Now, drawing new conclusion, I'll come to that later. First, answering the question. Now, say I ask all of you, who are you? So who are you? You know the thing. Now, if you don't know the language, you'll just say your name. If you have understood my question, whatever language I'm speaking. So your answer is fixed. If it is Vishal, then Vishal will say, I am Vishal, or Ami Vishal, or मैं Vishal हूँ. But that who and Ami and I am are the different lingua franca attachments. Somebody's mic is on. Just have a look in that. It's creating a noise. Somebody's mic is on. Anyway, so just take care if anybody's mic is on. I'm listening to a noise there. So this automated reasoning, the first thing is answering the question. If I am asking Vishal, who are you? That Vishal's name is the answer. Along with that, he will attach some attachments and represent it based on the language in which the other person is asking, if he knows the language, and if he doesn't know the language but at least understands, say किसी ने South Indian कोई language like Malayalam या Telugu में पूछा, but at least he is able to understand, okay, he is asking my name. So he will say that he will not be putting that I am or other things. He'll just speak out blabber out the name. So that thing is that you know the answer and you reason it and you give it. And the reasoning part is if you are putting I am or Ami or मैं हूँ, that kind of things. And to draw new conclusion means based on just see whose this thing is there, whose mic is on. Just have a look. Somebody's mic. Yeah, thank you. So this automated reasoning, and the second part is drawing new conclusions. Drawing new conclusion means you will reason based on some data. You will reason, like say for example, you have to do some reasoning among which students to say we have a cultural fest, we want to call some students. Now obviously I will first, if we have a cultural fest, I'll first go to the music or music department and then ask them, because students who are in the music department, they are bound to know either dance or either say singing, because we have 2 master degrees in music. One is Kathak and one is vocal. So at least the vocal students will be able to sing, and at least the this Kathak students should be able to dance. You cannot do a master degree in Kathak without knowing how to dance, or you cannot do a master degree in vocals without knowing how to sing some songs, isn't it? So the automated reasoning part is that if Tripura University is organizing some cultural fest, music department has to be involved. Now if I am going to TIT or say NIT, which doesn't have a music department, what I'll do? I'll ask for which students know how to dance, which students know how to sing, and then I'll look for them, isn't it? Or if somebody has been to Indian Idol or Dance India or something, we'll know that okay, this guy or this girl is good in singing or dancing, then based on those we'll be bringing him or her in. Otherwise, normally in our university, as we know, we have a music department, we'll go to them and ask the in charge of the HOD or other faculty members of the music department to recommend the names who to send for the cultural fest, isn't it? That is a logical thing. So for drawing new conclusion means here we have a music department, so our conclusion will be going to music department, and for NIT and TIT they have to look for where to go, or at least if there is, they know that somebody is very good in dancing or singing, we'll ask him or her, okay, who, you tell me who is good in singing or dancing, then only you'll be applying that. The fourth one is your machine learning part. So we have to adapt to new circumstances and to detect and extrapolate the patterns. Now what has happened is, say for example, if you have a look in there are different machine learning thing, time series analysis and thing. There is a lot of thing done, a lot of algorithms. Those who are into, anybody has the idea of time series analysis, especially the statistical students? Time series analysis?
Sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, so in time series analysis, just tell me what things you have, say you have studied or you have applied somewhere. Statistics students, you have studied as a syllabus part, or you have applied somewhere, or some unit in your any of the courses was there, or based on your interest you have gone through that time series analysis?
It's a syllabus part.
Okay, so see, a lot of time series applications are there nowadays. You have a very much advances in data science and other things. So what happens there is that time series analysis can be applied in any non-linear, non-stationary object, isn't it? See what I'm saying, non-linear and non-stationary, two things. Non-linear means obviously all human beings are non-linear, as well as non-stationary means they are not fixed with respect to time also, they change with respect to time. So can you give me examples, anybody? Non-linear, non-stationary, what kind of data we can have? Non-linear as well as non-stationary. Huh? Yes? Yes, stock price. Yes, Devjyoti. See, you have stock prices. That is the one which will be able to make money. I had given some examples in the last thing also for the arbitrage part. Similarly, your rainfall, earthquake data. Where is the prediction of earthquake? When there will be rainfall? When there will be say temperature will go up, temperature will go down, other things. So this is a very advanced field of data science where a lot of machine learning is put into account, because all these data that are there is non-linear firstly, as well as non-stationary. So we have two non-things to be taken into account. So that's why these statistical students, when you are applying that, you have to apply the statistics. You cannot directly put a general statistics there. You cannot do a mean and average and do the prediction. You have to do the time series analysis, how it is behaving. Okay, so they have to adapt with respect to the new circumstances that will come. Abhi COVID aa gaya, to stock market ka data change ho gaya, isn't it? Without COVID and with COVID, there will be changes. Stock market data for the stocks separately also they will be having. अभी वो अफगानिस्तान का कंट्रोल तालिबान को चला गया तो उसमें भी चेंज हो जाएगा. इसमें जापान में सुनामी आ गया तो उसमें भी स्टॉक मार्केट चेंज हो जाएगा, बिकॉज यू हैव न्यू सर्कमस्टेंसेस कमिंग अप, एंड if you have predicted something, you have to extrapolate the patterns and you have to predict again for the same thing. Getting the problems that we can face? So there you have to extract features, time series features, non-linear, non-stationary features, bring in them, and then we will have to use the machine for machine learning and prediction. So to pass the Turing test, the other two are computer vision and robotics. Okay, तो यहाँ पे हमारा CS और electronics और electrical वाला आ गया. So to perceive objects, so for computer vision anybody can work on those, and the thing is the robotics for manipulation of object, when to move, where to move, how to move, and those things. Okay, so these are the six important disciplines of AI. I'll be giving some overview on that. Along with that, there are various applications. I'll be discussing the applications also. So for thinking humanly, the cognitive modeling approach is there. So we must have some way of determining how human thinks and make the programs think like humans. So that is the cognitive approach, and we need to get inside the actual workings of the human mind, how the humans behave. So if you directly apply those things, like say, if you try to see how, you can try that out. Those who are into watching soaps and other things, you can directly, okay, next move kya hoga? So the TV and other soaps are there. They are extending the serials like anything, but they are putting some actual working in the human mind there. So you will enjoy those serials where you can predict something and that prediction is not working out. If you predict something and the serial characters are behaving in that way, you will not like that serial, isn't it? So that's why many people like suspense thrillers, because you are at a suspense. You will think that the person whom you will think as the murderer, he or she is not the murderer. Somebody else is the murderer, or there are some other set of reasons. So if you go out of the loop and again have a proper reasoning for that out of the loop, then only it will work out. If you don't have a out of the loop is fine, but it has to have proper reasoning also. नहीं तो वो film फिर से flop हो जाएगा. So you have to see how human minds work. So the backup plan is you have to predict how it works and so on. Next, this can be done in 3 ways. One is through introspection, trying to catch our thoughts as they go by. Means introspection means you will introspect, okay, this was done like that, and how I think he was trying to do this, and that is similar to your this Chak De last goal kind of thing. Okay, so you are doing this through introspection and through psychological experiments, observing the person in action. Okay, and brain imaging, observing the brain in action. Now the last one is a bit troublesome. We can do it, no doubt. Brain imaging can be done, but that is obviously the machine will be put in your brain, and it is say unless somebody you want to study somebody as a subject under study. This last one is not very much possible to handle it, but the other two, वो sci-fi movie में होता है brain imaging, but the other two are the ones that we normally apply humanly, isn't it? The cognitive modeling. Many of you are very good thinkers and you can predict that अच्छा ये 10 क्वेश्चन लास्ट ईयर आया था, तो इस बार भी तो यही सर ने या यही मैडम ने पढ़ाया है, तो सिलेबस कोविड के लिए तो 2 चैप्टर कम पढ़ाया है, तो क्या क्वेश्चन हो सकता है? somebody is very good in giving suggestions and predicting what questions will come in the exam. जो 11 12 या बोर्ड एग्जाम के लिए या कॉम्पिटिटिव एग्जाम के लिए you have done that, isn't it? So so there is a field of interdisciplinary field of cognitive science, and these computer guys come along with the psychology and those guys, and they do this kind of things. Even for the kids nowadays, a lot of projects are being funded for the cognitive for the kids, because this NEP is also asking to improve the kids in step by step. So a lot of things are being done there. Okay. So next, coming to the thinking rationally part. So here the laws of thought are there. So based on Aristotle, right thinking, though there is something called syllogism. So syllogism is nothing but what you are doing is you are putting some arguments, like Socrates is a man, all men are mortal, therefore Socrates is mortal. So it is some kind of reasoning kind of thing, isn't it? This equal to that, and that equal to this. So as these two are same, so this also will be equal to that kind of thing. Clear?
Yes.
So you are okay with this syllogism? Means we are just doing kind of reasoning kind of thing. We are giving some arguments. Okay. Because what we have said, Socrates is a man. All men are mortal. Therefore Socrates is mortal kind of thing. I could directly say Socrates is mortal, because somebody is trying to make Socrates a god. You said, "Arey, Socrates is a man. All men are mortal. So Socrates is mortal, and as Socrates is mortal, so he or she is not a god." Clear? So it is the right way of thinking. So so here you have laws of logic coming into the mind, and this particular thing is very important. And in AI, you have to have the logic part, and all of you have done the binary logic, I think. So here what we'll be doing, will be say going through that only with a bit of difference. The rest of the things are same binary part. Discrete mathematics, how many of you have done? MCA students have done, I guess. Discrete
Yes, sir.
mathematics.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Others, MTech, IT.
Yes, sir, I have done.
Okay, so those who are computer science background, they have done electronics and electrical and statistics, discrete mathematics. Electrical guys, I think they have not done discrete mathematics, isn't it? Okay, and electronics guys also have not done. In many institutes in electronics, they teach discrete mathematics to some extent. I don't know whether you guys have done or not. Anyway, statistics, I hope you have not taken an elective subject from mathematics either in your UG or PG on discrete mathematics. Or have you taken, any of you who are from other universities? Stats, nobody has done discretes. Okay, anyway, I'll have one unit not directly in discretes, but I'll be just going for these CS EC guys who have studied binary logic, and electrical guys binary logic thing. I'll correlate with binary logic and I'll be just going into that. But I'll not be taking the whole discrete mathematics part, but that small part which is actually part and parcel of all AI thinking, I'll be taking up say 1 or 2 classes. I'll be taking very small part. It will be say hardly not even 1 unit of your discrete mathematics, but that's only the small part that I am there. If in case you have already done that, it will just be a repetition, and if you have not done that, you can I'll be taking up. No, you don't have to worry about that. Okay. So if somebody is following logic, it is called logicist tradition. And within AI, we try to employ logic so that the system is intelligent. So the obstacles that we can have for this logicist tradition in AI is that the first is that it is not easy to take informal knowledge and state it as a formal terms, because when you are applying logic, like Socrates is a man and all men are mortal, you have to convert these letters and words into equations. So that part is not easy. Getting the problem? You know some things, those things, but when I'm saying A equal to B and B equal to C, so A equal to C kind of thing is very easy, but you have to represent that. So you have to take this informal knowledge and state it in formal terms so that you can apply logic. Unless you are not converting these sentences into logic form, then you cannot say these sentences are equal. Okay. You being a human being have understood the sentence as I gave it, but you have to make the machine understand that particular sentence. I hope you are getting the problem that I'm speaking of.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So,
Yes, sir.
so for this logical notation, particularly when this means even if it is less than 100% certain, you have to have some equations. So you have to convert the sentences or any representations or any images. Means it may be an image. They like ये लड़का और ये लड़की हाथ पकड़ के घूम रहा है, तो ये लोग दोस्त होंगे, भाई बहन होंगे, बॉयफ्रेंड गर्लफ्रेंड होंगे, या कुछ ना कुछ होंगे. Getting? They know each other. So, but that thing, from that image, you have to convert it into this particular thing. जो हमारा वो पड़ोसी लोग करता है, देखता है, and then they deduce something. So you have to make your machine also do that. To make the machine do that, then only they can work humanly. So for doing that particular thing, you have to have a particular system for that. How will you convert that image taken between that? It may be a morphed image also, but one part is that morphing part can be taken care of. So we have some detection algorithms will detect that, okay, this part is morphed, so they are not
Sir,
holding it.
what is morphing means?
Morphing means modifying. Say I take one image from here and one image from there, and I'll put them together. I'll say these two were together. Okay. So main thing is that that morphing part our human beings we cannot detect if it is a proper morphing or किसी को Photoshop बहुत अच्छा आता है इतना करके दे दिया तो ये photo but if we can make the machine think humanly and then the morphing part can be taken care of because lot of algorithms are there which can detect if there is some forgery in the image okay image or voice or any video if there is any forgery in that can be detected तो ये part तो हमारे लिए आसान हो गया machine के लिए but the दूसरा part जो समझना वाला so that part is troublesome for the machine okay the second one is difference between solving a problem in principle and solving it in practice solving a problem in principle is a different thing and practically solving it is a different thing so just like theoretically and say practically so even the problems with just few facts can exhaust the computational resources because here if you are a human being what you will do is that when you get a set of 5 or 6 informations so those 5 or 6 information they can be say yes or no or say 0 or 1 so those 6 information for you you know that humanly you will think that this cannot happen at all so I'll skip those particular part at all directly so you will decide among 3 things but when you will put it in the machine will take each and every possibility into mind so it will become 2 to the power 6 or 2 to the power 5 number of computations for it so it will not be as simple as 3 or 4 computations like you think humanly and you can do it machines will think like machine and if it is not able to think humanly it has to do a computation for 2 to the power 5 or 2 to the power 6 kind of options isn't it so those problems are there so the logicitation and for intelligent systems that is a different so all these obstacles that are there their main idea is to make computational reasoning systems they appeared first in the logicist tradition and then you can go for the computational reasoning means you will do the computation as well as you will be doing the reasoning together whereas for acting rationally you have a rational approach where is we call it an agent means to do something so you can have a rational agent or computer agent so there they have to operate autonomously perceive the environment persist over prolonged time period and adapt to the rational agent change and create to pursue the goals so just like say stock market you are asking a machine to monitor the stock market so suddenly corona आया तो कोरोना तो चाइना से आया तो कौन सा कंट्री को डायरेक्टली अफेक्ट किया सो बेस्ड ऑन दैट दोस कंट्रीज इकोनॉमीज विल बी देयर इंडिया को लेट अफेक्ट किया जब अफेक्ट किया इंडिया का इकोनॉमी गड़बड़ हो गया सो द प्रेडिक्शंस हैव टू बी डन बेस्ड ऑन दैट नाउ दोस हु कुड प्रिडिक्ट दैट इंडिया को अफेक्ट करेगा तो ऐसा होगा दे वर प्रिपेयर्ड बिफोरहैंड सो दोस हु कुडंट डू दे वर नॉट प्रिपेयर्ड बिफोरहैंड तो इसीलिए चेन्नई का अच्छा हो गया केरला या कौन सा स्टेट केरला था ना जो वर वेल प्रिपेयर्ड so they were well prepared the other states were not well prepared so those kind of things were coming up because of they were well prepared with this particular thing so this rational agent actually acts so that it can achieve the best outcome when there is uncertainty means like many of you know that there is a very popular saying hope for the best and prepare for the worst kind of thing you hope for the best if it is best it's good for you but if you are not prepared for the worst then you will be in trouble getting the problem so you have to hope for the best if it is the best one anyway you are going to excel and if you are prepared for the worst then there is no one who will be able to put you down now if you are not prepared for the worst abhi pata chala कि मेरा इंटरनल में नंबर कम है और एक्सटर्नल से पहले मेरा बुखार हो गया तो 70 में मुझे 20 मिला बट अगर तुम्हारा वहां पे 30 में 25 आ गया तो यू आर पास एनीवे बट इफ यू आर नॉट थिंकिंग दैट अरे मेरा तो एक्सटर्नल में अच्छा से फुल सिलेबस आई हैव डन इंटरनल एक मिस भी हो गया तो क्या होगा तो यू नो देन में 15 मिला 12 है पास मार्क्स so I got 15 enough but now because of the fever you are scoring 20 now you get 35 32 or 35 so now you are fail in the subject so those kind of things you have to keep in mind hope for the best and prepare for the worst kind of thing. So that is what the machine has to do, to act rationally. And the laws of thoughts that are there, so you have to make correct inferences, and for that you have to act rationally as well as reason rationally. So whatever predictions you have to do or solutions you come up to, those you have to do. So the correct inference that is there in some situations, there is no probably correct thing. Means there are some situations where कोई भी चीज सही नहीं है, but what you have to do is that you have to think best possibility among the worst kind of thing. So these kind of things humans can do very well, isn't it? So if humans can do that very well, so what you have to do is that you have to make the machines do that also. So all skills that Turing test needs to do, knowledge representation, reasoning, and those things, we have to apply all of them, and based on that we will be having effective behavior. So this rational agent approach has two advantages. The first one is the laws of thought approach, and the second one is means you can apply it in various scientific developments and approaches based on human behavior and human thought. So I'll keep up to this for today's thing. Now if you, any one of you, I am free to speak up. Tell me. I hope you got what I wanted to say, communicate.
Yes, sir.
So any of you have any questions?
No, sir.
So tomorrow also I'll be taking a class at the same time. Monday I'll not be taking because we have this PhD interview. So tomorrow join me at 10:30. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.